It's unusual in the sense that this played out in public, but I've seen many, many tough conversations with world leaders. I've been part of them with the Chinese and with others. President Trump has certainly been part of them. I was party to those as well. So the vigorous nature of the debate that took place, each side staking out its arguments, its claim, each trying to deliver on behalf of its own people, that frankly didn't stun me. I'm probably pretty hard to surprise at this point. Yeah. But I was surprised that this took place in the Oval Office with the media still present. And then the second thing I observed was, when you're engaged in these things that are absolutely important to the United States of America and to the Ukrainian people and to Europe, you have to make sure you don't personalize this. This can't be about individuals. This is so much bigger than that. This matters so much to how this administration can successfully deliver the deterrence that it had during the first 4 years, push back against Vladimir Putin as we had done. You have to make sure that you get the ideas right. You have to get the structure right. It's about actions, not words. And when we get those things right, we can deliver a really good outcome for the United States and frankly, a good outcome for Europe and Ukraine as well. And if you get them wrong, then there's lots of risk, as President Trump described in the Oval Office.
All right. Just quick question before we go to the second part. When President Trump said, you have no cards, with us, you have cards, and you are gambling with World War III. Do you agree with those statements?
There's no doubt. Ukraine, without the support of the United States of America, puts itself in real jeopardy, real risk. We ought to make sure we do this well and do this powerfully. And when we do, Ukraine will have a chance to get a good outcome. And that matters. That matters to the United States deeply, Martha. Yeah,
it matters to the security of the world, really. And that is the goal that was set out to be achieved today, with just this first piece being a mineral deal. I think everyone needs to understand that. This was, the first piece. And as President Trump has said, you don't get to figure out peacekeeping troops until you get further down the line here. So this was part one, and maybe they'll be able to.
Yeah, well, first of all, let me say I associate myself with Secretary Pompeo's comments, and I just add a couple of thoughts. Number one, no president has ever experienced what Zelensky's experienced. 3 years of war in his country. He's attacked by the most powerful country in Europe, has a much larger military. He outguns the Ukrainians, and he's watched their people suffer on a regular basis. He always goes to the front, to help his troops in terms of their spirit and morale, but it's got to take a toll on him to see the suffering that's taken place among his people. The only president that comes close to that is Abraham Lincoln due to our Civil War. That is one thing. The second thing is, he should have understood going into the Oval Office today that when the cameras are on, the reporters are going to try to provoke division, particularly the body of reporters that we know are in the White House that are anti-Trump. They want to try to accentuate that division in front of the American people. So provocative questions are going to be asked. And the only answer to the question should be, from Zelensky's point, thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, America. I'm going to work with you to achieve a peaceful end to this war, period. He must say that 5, 6, 7 times in different words and stay away from anything that smacks of controversy that would divide them. He fell into that trap, and likely right beneath the surface, he obviously has some disagreements with the president and his team. And that is to be expected, but not in the Oval Office. That is done privately, as anybody has said today. The second thing is what the last snippet talked about. Zelensky likely doesn't see this deal, the mineral deal, in the same light that President Trump does. He sees it as a huge strategic deal that connects the United States to Ukraine for a generation at least. It's going to take years of exploration and mining to get all of that out where it's monetized properly. He knows all of that, but it connects him economically to Ukraine, politically to Ukraine, and all the implications in terms of security and military to Ukraine. But Trump does not want to go there on a third thing prior to negotiations. He knows full well that given the investment the United States is going to make, that he will do what's necessary to protect it. But prior to negotiations with Putin, he's not laying that stuff out on the table. I'm stunned that Zelensky doesn't have an appreciation for who he's dealing with, that he hasn't been briefed in the kind of details that he really has to have. What Zelensky wants is a strategic partnership with Trump, Martha, where they're working together to deal with Putin. And what the president is doing, he is facilitating these negotiations. Zelensky doesn't like that. He wants a partnership. But President Trump believes if he's going to have any progress with Putin, he can't publicly sign up with Zelensky to achieve that. He puts a lot of faith in personal diplomacy that exceeds most presidents I've seen, going all the way back to Franklin Delano Roosevelt. So that, I think, is some of the divide that's here. And it's really unfortunate that this blows up in the media, certainly. I don't think it's the lost opportunity that we're feeling right now. Why? Because, listen, it is in the U.S. national interest to end this war and to stop Putin in his tracks. It's in Zelensky's national interest. All his people want it. He wants it. All his staff wants it.